Welcome to part 29 of my walkthrough for Final Fantasy IX, my friends. We are standing outside Eiko's home and now we're going to head towards the Iifa Tree. For the longest time I thought it was called Iifa Tree, but I guess that's not the case. I'll just call it the Ancient Tree, because pronouncing that name is troublesome. Before we step out, I wanted to buy a Multina rocket for Eiko so that she can learn a few more spells, even though I'm not going to give it to her quite yet because she still has a few things to learn. As per usual, I will be skipping all the repeated battles that I encounter, so on that previous fight I battled a goblin mage. I've shown that fight before, they're really not a tough opponent. But before we head to the tree, we're going to meet the friendly Nymph. So as we step out, run to the forest and keep running around here. I cut out a few random battles because there's no point in showing them. But here we have the friendly Nymph and we need to give her 3 ores. And we'll get 30 AP as a reward. Remember that it's very important to do this so that the fight against Ozma later on becomes easier. Plus you also get a nice amount of AP, which is always very nice. One more will do it. And now we can head towards the tree. Let's just change a few things here since all the characters learn new abilities. So we'll have Eiko learn Haste, that will come in handy. Before you step inside the tree, make sure that it has the undead killer ability equipped. That will come in handy, because a lot of the monsters that we're going to encounter inside the tree are undead monsters. And you can also use Dagger and Eiko to attack. They can cast Cure or Cura to deal damage to the enemies, and they can even cast Life, and that will automatically finish off the undead monsters. There's only one monster that you encounter here that's not undead, but if we run into him, I'll let you know how to approach that monster. So we're going to ask Eiko just to speed things up a little bit. So they did use Carbuncle to form a seal around the tree, even though earlier on Eiko explained that they sealed Carbuncle, which is the Eidolon that they're talking about, because they couldn't summon it. So we get the ruby. You see, since Final Fantasy IX is an old school game, you can get Carbuncle without having to pay for DLC or for pre-ordering the game. Some of you will get that if you're planning on playing Final Fantasy 15. But now we can keep going. There's a few items for us to pick up, but not during these first few screens. For now we just need to get inside the actual tree. This team was always kind of creepy to me. here we go with the first battle. And this is the enemy that I was talking about earlier on. It's not an undead monster, so don't cast healing magic on it. But it is weak against fire, so you can use fire magic. Use fire on it and it will deal a lot of damage. And then you can either strike him with using Zidane or use Ramu. That attack followed, any attack followed by fire will most likely finish it off, so you'll be good. So Judgment Bolt will finish it off. There we go. And now we can keep going. So aside from that monster, all the other monsters that you might encounter around here are undead. So just cast live on them and that will finish them off. I always felt, when I was younger and I first played this game, I always felt that something was about to go very wrong whenever you stepped inside the tree, just because of the theme song playing and the environment around the tree. So if I were you, little Moogle, I would get out of here, because I don't want you to get into trouble. To be fair, I don't even know why they have a Moogle there. You wouldn't think a Moogle would step inside, and that would mean that the Moogles can somehow break through the seal of the tree. I never thought about that before, but if the tree was sealed and there was a Moogle inside, that means that somehow the Moogles can get past the seal, and it's the same thing for Kuja. So, because he also managed to get inside the tree beforehand. I never thought about that before, but makes sense. So she essentially says to stay on it, try to stand on it, which is one of the options, but the result is always going to be the same. You see, these lifts only work when Zidane stands on them, and that's because Zidane, there's more to him than meets the eye, aside from the monkey tail, but this is the first hint that we get that maybe Zidane is more special than we think. Because when you think about it, up until this point in the story, even though Zidane's the main character, the plots mostly revolved around Dagger and Vivi. It's been their story so far. But as we move along, it will start becoming Zidane's story more and more. Which is nice that, you know, they alternate the focus of the story in between characters, you know, unlike Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy VIII, for example, where really the supporting characters were just there to fight and for the occasional dialogue, but the main story was always about characters like Squall or Cloud, Ares and Rinoa, you know, so it centered around those characters. But in Final Fantasy IX, it shifts from character to character. So even though up until this point it's been mostly about Vivi and Dagger, now it's going to be mostly about Zidane. I mean, the next few parts are still going to be about Dagger, but even still, Zidane will start playing a bigger role. It's very important for you to push that lever in the floor below and then come back up so that you can pick up this healing rod. Normally you wouldn't think of getting it, but it really comes in handy, and it will teach Dagger Cura. However, the healing rod has one thing that's rather unique about it. Whenever you strike an opponent or friend using Dagger, and if she has the healing rod equipped, instead of delivering damage, it will actually heal the opponent or the friendly character. Unless you attack an undead monster, and then it will deliver damage as well. Be very careful with this level 5 death blue magic attack. It delivers instant death to all characters whose levels are multiples of 5, so if a character has a level terminating with either the number 5 or 0, they will instantly die. And the boss that you encounter in the tree can also use that ability, so it's very important to make sure that none of the characters have levels that terminate in the number 5 or 0, otherwise it will be game over for them. And if for some reason all of your party members have a level that terminates in either 5 or 0, then all of your party will be dead, and as a result you will have to restart. So there's an item here, almost missed it. And there's 2 more items to pick up. Another interesting thing about the tree is the fact that the treasure chests are different than the remaining treasure chests in the world map. So again, that's a clue that maybe the tree is a little bit out of this world. That was a repeated fight against that tree monster, so I figured there was no point in showing it again. And now we just need to head down. There's a few items for us to pick up at the bottom. And we're going to enter 2 mandatory fights as we take the elevator down. There's nothing that we can do about it, the fights are mandatory, but they're against undead monsters, so they're very easy to handle. The story really takes an interesting twist from this point on. I like it. So yeah, here we go with the first mandatory fight. We have to battle a couple of zombies. Funny looking zombies, but anyway. They're weak against fire magic, and obviously since they're undead, they're weak against healing magic as well. So you can cast Cure or Cura on them, but if you want to finish them off quickly, just cast Life and that will finish them off. I just want to show that there's different methods that you can use to finish off these guys. You can steal magic tags from them, and that comes in handy because the Draco zombie monster can inflict the zombie status on your party members, and if he does that, then your characters won't gain any experience points as they level up. And of course, since there was mist in the Dali village and so on, we already know that the black mages are produced using mist. So here we have another Draco zombie. Once again we can finish it off very easily by simply casting live on it, and I'm going to do just that because I don't feel like dragging out this fight. That works against the boss of the tree as well, Soulcage, which is rather funny, and we are going to exploit that. Make sure that as you step down, none of your characters have a level that ends in 5 or 0. Otherwise, they'll be finished off as soon as the fight starts against Soulcage. Also, it's very important for you to make sure that all of your characters have the Body Temp ability equipped. That ability prevents heat and frost, and you'll need it because the boss likes to use an attack called Mustard Bomb, which puts your character in the heat status, and whenever your character gets attacked again, that character will die automatically, so it's important to be protected against it. And if you're protected against those two attacks, then this fight will really become very simple. You'd think that for the Guardian of the Tree, Soulcage would be a tougher opponent, but he's really nothing special, as long as you're prepared. And there's a few items for us to pick up here, so let's get them. Yes, then now you know how it feels. But this might be the easiest boss fight that we'll have in the entire game, so there's really nothing to worry about. It's a giant tree! Oh my god! A talking tree! So as we expected, of course the mist is sent to the mist continent through the roots, which makes sense. Now the one thing I didn't know was that the mist can stimulate the fighting instinct, which I guess explains all the wars that happened. But then again, why was it that it was only Dagger's stepmom, Queen Brown, that was affected by it apparently? Well, you must have seen wrong, my friend, because you are about to die. So, someone lied to you. But he is going to live just for a little while longer because I want to steal from him. You will always open the fight with level 5 death, but since none of my characters have levels that end in either the number 5 or 0, we're good. Since it's an undead monster, you can cast healing magic on it and it will damage Soulcage. But if you really want to finish off this fight quickly, then simply throw an elixir at him or cast live. Alternatively, you can also throw a phoenix down at Soulcage and that will drop Soulcage's health to 1, and then you can just strike him once again and finish him off. If you have the body hit ability equipped, then there won't be any issues. Cast haste on Zidane so that he can steal a little bit more quickly. And aside from that, this fight really isn't hard, as you can see, because since we've nullified his most powerful attacks, all he can do is use a few physical attacks which don't deal that much damage, so it will be good. Okay guys, so I finally got the Brigand in. It took me a few turns, but I got it. And now I'm just going to finish off this battle. There's no point in dragging it out, so simply cast live on Soulcage and bye bye. It's that simple. So even though he talked big and made it seem like he was some tough opponent, as you can see, he was actually quite the champ. And that's what he gets for calling Vivi a puppet anyway. Ain't nobody got time for that. Now things look much more pretty. The mist is gone, which means no more airships will be flying around for a while. That is until Sid makes some progress developing the steam engine instead. Of course, this means that unfortunately, since there's no more mist, no more black mages will be produced. But they find a way, because if you think about the ending of this game, there will be some new black mages, so they find a way to reproduce or something. Anyway, as you can see, this segment isn't hard, especially the boss fight. As long as you're well prepared, it's a really simple fight. Like I said, Soulcage might very well be the easiest boss for you to beat in this entire game, because it's just so simple. It really makes things very easy. So we're going back to Eiko's village. Kuja won't appear for a while anyway, but then we will be coming back to the tree. So we don't need to worry. For now we need to go back to Eiko's home, where we will meet a new character. But that's for the next segment, my friends. As always, I hope you enjoyed this segment, and I will see you all later for the next part. Take care.